You're tuned in to the Rewind Guys podcast, the show where we watch, discuss, and rate old movies, new movies, movies that defined our childhoods, and others we've never seen or even heard of before. This week, the struggle of not becoming your own father is real. At least for a perverted Marty McFly it is, because this week we're talking about Back to the Future. So load up the plutonium, hop in the DeLorean, and don't forget to buckle up for safety, because the show is about to begin.
You're about to engage in a conversation you know or care nothing about.
Welcome back to the Rewind Guys podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Andrews, joined by Mike Andrus.
What's up?
And Russell Andrews. Extra tongue flippy.
I could hear it. Oh, wow.
All right, today we're talking about the action comedy sci-fi Back to the Future. This movie is rated PG, filmed in the U.S., was released July 3rd of 1985. This has a runtime of 1 hour and 56 minutes, had a budget of $19 million, and made $388.8 million, which I'm assuming is over time. I don't think that was all just in the release.
How much?
$388.8 million.
What was the budget?
$19 million. So they did pretty good. I mean, you know, they did fair. They did all right.
Snap.
This movie stars Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly, Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown, Leah Thompson as Lorraine, and Crispin Glover as George McFly. This movie was directed by Robert Zemeckis. And if you don't know the name, or maybe know the name but aren't familiar with his work, he has done all the Back to the Future movies, along with Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Forrest Gump, Castaway. He has quite a list of credits, and they all look like they were pretty successful. All right, guys, we're talking about Back to the Future. This was my pick. I didn't bring anything up to elaborate more on this movie, but I think everybody knows Back to the Future.
What happens in the movie, though?
What happens in the movie? Marty McFly goes back in time by accident, screws shit up, and has to put right that he put wrong. Yes.
I mean, ultimately, it's Doc Brown's fault, really. If he hadn't made the time machine, none of this would have happened.
Yeah, and also stealing the plutonium from the Libyans.
Yeah.
Which, Mike, what is the story behind the Libyans? Why Libyans?
So apparently in the 80s, they were really trying to get nuclear weapons.
Oh.
And they were trying to buy it from like every country they could get it from.
Okay.
And there was even like, I guess, proof of them trying to get it from the black market, which would be what these guys kind of were.
Oh. Interesting. And I like how so the deal was they gave it to Doc Brown because they wanted him to build a bomb?
I mean, they don't know how to build a bomb.
Well, yeah, I guess. So, and then of course he pulled a fast one by giving him something made out of like, what was it?
Pinball machine
Yes.
parts. That was it. Yeah.
Pinball machine parts. But okay, we're getting a little forward, but that's okay. I was very curious about the whole Libyan thing. I didn't know if there was like reason for it or whatever.
Could you imagine if they went to use that bomb and like... Dunk.
Yeah.
That'd be like, what the fuck?
They're like, oh,
Wouldn't
not
that be
again.
like how 50% of actual bombs go? Like,
That's what I'm
isn't that why
thinking.
there's just dud bombs all over Europe?
Ooh, are there?
I thought there were.
Man, it's kind of creepy. Okay, so I picked this movie for one specific reason. Going back to the first episode of our second season, when we did Bill and Ted, I argued that was written better. I want to recant that and say...
Now that you've watched this.
It was written better time travel-wise. Okay. First of all, I have to say I had a fun time watching this movie again. But I really love time travel movies where they introduce little bits of future technology into, like back in the day.
Okay.
Love that. That is like so cool. It's like my favorite thing in time travel movies. And of course, we don't get that in Bill and Ted because instead of just taking a couple things back, they just immersed these people into how things are. So it's not the same. But I have one major gripe with this movie. And
Just one?
Okay. I have many gripes with this movie. One major gripe in particular, but I have to say, overall, this movie could possibly be better than Bill and Ted. Just maybe.
Maybe just a matter of fact, but
there is also some big differences here. Bill and Ted is way more of a comedy than I think this is. I had more fun watching Bill and Ted and had way more laughs. I enjoyed this movie thoroughly, but this movie only made me laugh like one time. And I'll get to it because it gets me, I think, every time I watch this movie. And it's been a while, admittingly. But okay, so we start off. We got Marty McFly's going to look for Doc, and he's not in his warehouse thing. And he's late for school. Doc calls him up. There's some issues with his clocks. They're all 25 minutes fast.
slow.
Fast because he's late for school. He wouldn't be late for school if they were slow, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No,
Yes.
they're slow.
Why? Oh,
Because if the clock is slow, it's behind the actual time.
Oh,
which
yes,
is why he was.
yes.
If it was fast, he would have been 25 minutes
I
early.
did have it backwards.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
You totally tripped me up there.
Yeah, Mike's like, you're wrong, and then you're like, no, you're wrong. Mike's like, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Totally just shut me down.
Sorry about that. My bad. That's probably gonna happen a lot. But no, so I'm gonna say, man, who wouldn't be all over Michael J. Fox's character in this movie? Man, he is.
Dude, he's like 4 feet tall. He
probably a
dresses.
sailor.
He's probably a sailor.
Oh yeah, of course.
Who
the life vest
is
whatever.
like looks like he's about, I don't know, almost 30, but supposed to be 16 or 17.
Yeah, that was my
Yeah.
first thought. I was like, yeah, this is definitely the 80s.
Yes, that's
Why
what
do
they do.
always do that?
But how
Why do you
old- how-
get super old people to play super young people?
How old was I? Yeah, I was gonna look that up and I forgot
I
to.
tried to look it up and I couldn't find his age when they recorded anywhere.
Okay, but that is super common in the 80s.
I mean, I looked his mom up because she was hot.
Leah
She
Thompson.
was like 25 or something when that movie came out.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I was like,
Okay,
hey,
okay.
How you doing?
Yeah, Marty McFly thought the same thing.
Yeah, which,
Little odd.
Yeah,
but you're so thin.
and we'll get there. We'll get there. So much I want to say. Okay, so but no, he's handsome. He's charismatic. He's charming. He's strong. He is a dreamboat.
He can play the guitar and he uses skateboard.
Yes. Yeah, he is
full
everything.
package.
Yes, he's everything that Bill and Ted aren't. So right there, right there, we got it. Okay.
And he wears Calvin Klein, so he's
Yeah.
classy.
Oh, of course,
Classy, man.
And oh man, there's
That brings up a weird point. Does that mean his mother spent her whole life thinking she met and almost dated Calvin Klein?
I don't know.
It's like, man, that guy's got a really good underwear brand now. Like, I knew he'd go places.
Yeah.
I knew he was going somewhere. No, I don't know. Maybe just coincidental.
Also strange because she thought that he was hot.
Yes.
So then when she's older and then he grows up to be,
Okay.
would she then think, wow, if I was younger, I would totally bang my son?
Okay. Whoa.
Is that what she's thinking here? Because I'm confused.
I want to shut this down.
It was odd. The whole
No,
thing was a bit
there-
strange.
This is the exact train of thought I was expecting from this
yeah.
movie for
No.
some reason.
Yeah, I knew we were gonna go into this direction. I didn't know so quickly into the conversation, but I want to say no for this reason. Here's the thing. I kind of had that thought too, but I'm like, there's no way. I barely remember people I've met in my past. You got she met Marty when she was like what
he was a
17.
dreamboat.
Yeah, but
Yes.
this wasn't someone you just met. He basically invented the skateboard in front of everybody,
Yes.
beat up that dude, got those two together.
Yeah.
They're both going to remember this guy.
Well,
This is extremely important.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, they've only seen him periodically throughout the course of like 7 or 8 days. And so like I'm sure they remember him 100%. Like I don't think they forgot him.
Their son after him.
Yes.
So they're not gonna forget this guy.
I just don't think that all the details of this person are going to be cemented in their brain. Maybe when he gets older, like, man, we named him after that guy, and isn't it like oh, excuse me, isn't it ironic how much he looks like him? I mean, like, I'm sure that's probably there. Like, oh man, do you remember that guy? He kind of looks like him, but there's no.
And then the
photos.
mom would say, "Well, that's weird because I tried to have sex with him." And is that the reason? No, never mind. That was before they went back to the past.
I'm sure those types of words in a conversation would not come up.
Okay, they wouldn't use those words.
Those are the exact lines.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, we
broke him.
No, I'm just saying. I get what you're saying. I thought the same kind of thing, but I'm like, I mean, if I don't have pictures of somebody, I might have thoughts of how somebody might look, but I can't put it together. You know what I mean? Of course, I have a really bad memory, so whatever.
Plus, this is strange because, like, when he first meets his mom, not knowing that it's his mom,
yeah,
and then finds out it is, he's like, "But you're so," and you could tell he's like, "You're so hot," but he says, "You're so thin." Then he goes back to the future, which is the present,
yes,
and looks at his mom and says, "Mom, you're so thin."
Ooh,
he used the same word to describe his mom in present day as he did in the past when he thought she was hot. Just he's having some thoughts.
You know what I caught? I've realized this with 80s and 90s movies. Was this a thing? Like that apparently it's a trope because I've noticed in a lot of these movies that I've been picking from 80s and 90s, people are quite rapey.
Yes.
Oh,
why?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
It's just like, I swear to God, because part of me wanted to say, like, oh my God, I never realized how many movies had like all these really handsy and rapey type characters. And I'm like, and then I realized, like, this is mostly the movies that I kind of picked that take place in like 80s and 90s. Why is that a thing? No, this is not to say anything of my character. I'm just saying this just happens to be. Why do all my favorite movies have rape scenes? I don't know. No, I'm just saying. I noticed that, and it seems like it's only 80s and 90s.
All right,
Randy. It's supposed to be. Why are all my favorite rape scenes in movies?
No. Okay. All right. So, he's late for school. All right, we're gonna just gloss over this, and like, he's getting in trouble. I hate this one scene after school. He's hanging out with his girlfriend. We're led to believe, at least I was, that they're in a relationship. Mm-hmm. She obviously loves him. He obviously loves her. And I'm like, what a piece of shit. They're like in the park and those hot, like, short girls, like with the neon shorts.
What?
The girls with the neon shorts.
Oh, yeah.
The short girls, okay? They walk by.
They were wearing shorts.
Yes, they were wearing shorts. And they walk by and he's just all like, he is staring.
I full on missed that. Like,
so heavily.
Right.
And she's all like, whoop, she moves his head back and then she's like, I love you so much. I'm like, I'm pissed.
I mean, I just, what is it better? Is it better that a man hides that and the woman just believes that he's being sincere by lying to her with his action and not just being open? He's not doing anything.
Let's talk about relationships.
I'm sorry.
Let's talk about young love. Let's talk about love.
Yeah.
People check out people. I think it's just human nature. People judge people.
That's what I'm saying.
People just do this stuff. However, I would think it's weird if I was out somewhere and my significant other's is like, checking out some dude's packages and stuff like, can you just do that on your own time or something? It's weird. I'm sorry. I'm not saying you can't. I don't care. I just don't want to see you doing it.
I completely missed this scene. So she physically moved his head away from him.
Like she caught him 100%.
That's like, yeah, that's bad.
I mean, like, I mean,
when she caught him glancing and he looked away, like, after a glance, no big deal.
Right.
But she physically had to move his head. That's fucked up.
That's what I'm saying, man. He's a perv, and that's why he's having a really hard time refusing his mom.
He's also 17.
Hormones, man. Going crazy. I guess.
It's just that he looks 30 that we're getting confused by this.
Yes. Oh, man. Okay. Later in that night, Doc Brown wants him to meet him up at the mall, Twin Pines parking lot.
Meet him up at the mall.
What?
He said meet him up at the mall.
Meet him up. Meet him. Oh my God. meet up with him at the mall. There we go. And I don't English well. So I'm like, yeah, what's wrong with meeting him up at the mall?
Yeah, go meet him up at the mall.
Anyway, okay.
Well, I guess if the mall is up in direction, you met him up at the mall.
Yes, thank you.
No, that's for the second movie when they have flying malls.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Flying malls.
So he gets there and bullshit on this scene. I thought this before, and it is actually like a it's not a plot hole. It's just kind of like a bloopery. I don't know what you'd call it. It's an inconsistency, all right? Where the back of that truck comes down and Doc Brown's like, woo, he comes out. There's no way he could have loaded that car in there and gotten out of it. Can't do it. That car,
How do you know?
Because that car just fits in there, which is fine. But the way the doors open, you can't get out.
Trunk.
You can't climb through the trunk.
How do you know?
DeLorean has a trunk in the front.
Yeah, the engine's in the back.
Okay, so maybe there's an access port from the front.
Oh my God, I just don't think it happens.
Into the front trunk.
I don't.
The front.
The front? Oh,
I just don't think it can work.
Why not? You don't. He also added. It's a fucking time machine, and you're concerned with how did he get out? How did he go through time in a DeLorean? Is what I want to know.
No, that's not the issue. He made a time machine.
He time traveled to be in the position of the car. So he popped in and he was in it.
I just don't understand. It was remote controlled. Why he didn't just like drive it up in there and then just stay out? Whatever. I just thought it was funny.
I'm just saying
I thought it was
there's
funny.
a possibility that he had a different way in and out that wasn't a door.
Also, isn't that kind of the whole point of the wing doors? Is they open straight up? They don't open out that much.
They don't really open out that much though.
They swing out a bit.
But is it?
Because I think parking actually
much?
is an issue with those things. I'm almost positive.
I thought one of the reasons why they swung up was so parking wouldn't be an issue.
Apparently, I found out a very real issue with those doors was they were all electronic.
Yeah.
So if that car had any electrical issues, which it had quite a few electrical issues,
Okay.
the doors would just get stuck shut. You
Really?
get trapped inside it.
Yeah, that's also why the windows don't open.
Yes.
They have
Because
those little tiny windows that
Yeah.
open in the middle of the window.
Yeah,
which
and
is
the doors
kinda
were
stupid.
were heavy and problematic, and I still would take a DeLorean, 100%.
I'm just saying, there were a
cars.
lot of good parts about that car.
Yeah.
And this movie was like a huge commercial for the DeLorean.
Oh, yeah.
Except for it constantly having problems starting and working. It's kind of like not the best
Well,
idea.
They're just giving it to you straight.
It's not the makers of the DeLorean. It's all the modifications that Doc Brown
yeah,
did to it. You
I'm
know.
sure that's how they sold it to DeLorean.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Those, alternator problems caused by time travel.
Yes. Exactly.
It's
No.
always the alternative.
Awesome cars, but I think their whole reason by going to a DeLorean is like, what is the most craziest futuristic car we could send back in time? And what
Yeah.
else really was there
I mean,
in the 80s?
if I were to have to pick the craziest, most futuristic car today, I'd still probably pick a DeLorean. Like,
Yeah, it's probably true.
Nothing has that real look.
I don't know, man. I've seen some cars. I've seen some weird
I've seen some
concept
cars too.
I've seen at least one car.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, I'm glad
Two,
we're all on the
for sure,
same
two.
page. Okay, I'm really trying to get to my point of argument. Because, okay.
Yes. The crux of the movie. How could he have gotten out inside the truck?
Yes. Thank you. I'm glad we're back there. No. Okay. So, Libyans show up because Doc explained how he got this plutonium. He stole it from these guys because, like, I was supposed to make a bomb, but I gave him some BS and I stole this stuff. Libyans show up, kill Doc Brown. Marty makes his daring escape, forgetting, of course, about the time machine.
I was actually really surprised when they shot him a whole bunch.
Oh,
'Cause
really?
I haven't seen this movie since I was a little kid.
Huh, interesting.
So I didn't remember him getting shot because obviously he lives.
And you're like, no, Doc! And
I'm
tears.
like, obviously, like, they sort this out somehow, but I had no memory of him getting shot up.
Huh. And I was actually, one of my arguments before I continue was, who lets their 17-year-old son hang out with, like, this deranged old scientist dude?
Dude, I would definitely do that.
I mean,
He's a scientist.
Well,
It's like, you're
no.
going to learn something from this man.
also,
I
his
guess.
dad does not like confrontation.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's true,
so-
too. Well, no, actually, that was the thing. Like, as I'm watching this, I'm like, he looks like he's growing up in a family that just does not give two shits about much.
Yeah, though, his mom's an alcoholic.
Yeah.
His dad just does anything he
Was
is
she?
told to do. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I totally missed that.
Really?
Mike's like, isn't that normal?
It isn't.
So, okay.
Isn't that all moms?
Mommy. So, okay.
Sorry, Mike's mom.
You know, now that I'm looking back, I did catch her like going for the vodka in
Yeah.
the kitchen on that one scene,
Yeah.
but I didn't assume alcoholic there.
Yeah.
I just assumed 80s.
That's all women in the 80s.
Yeah, alcohol and.
Why do you think everyone loved the 80s so much? They were just all
Cocaine.
wasted.
Yeah, yes, that's why the 80s were so great. Oh,
Oh,
anyway, okay, so he goes to make his escape because they shoot Doc Brown. He's in the time machine. He forgets, of course, about the whole 88 miles an hour thing that Doc just said, which, okay, I get it. He was just told this.
Wait,
He's
wait,
freaking
wait,
out.
wait.
17, he probably was not paying attention.
Right, yeah. He's being chased by, like, guns.
This guy has got to rewind a little bit
Ooh, what do we got?
because they do the test drive with the dog.
Yes. Oh,
Just
Einstein.
fucked up.
I have
Ugh.
nothing but confusion again for this entire thing.
yes, I thought about this for so long.
They send the dog, 1 minute in the past, right?
No, in the future.
In the future, whatever.
Yes.
1 minute in the future. So you're thinking, how's the dog going to drive 88 miles an hour? Oh, of course, he has the remote control for the car. Perfect sense. So he gets to the future. How does he come back from the future?
They meet up with him 1 minute in the future.
He never comes back. Like he's
Yeah.
So what's he doing for the minute that he's in the future? Just driving at 88 miles an hour?
He said in it that it's instantaneous. For
Yes.
him, it was he poofed and he poofed back in.
I sat, I kid you not, for a good 10 to 15 minutes trying to make this work in my own mind because I thought the same thing. I was like, I didn't understand how the clocks were off, but then I got it. And I thought the same thing. When we watch Marty go back in time.
Yeah,
what?
he said the clocks are up because the dog's clock still said 120 while their clock said 121.
Yes.
So it was an instantaneous jump.
Exactly. So
okay.
I thought the same thing because my thought was, well, when Marty time travels and he's going 88 miles an hour, when he hits his time period, he's still cruising.
Yeah.
So I thought the same thing. I was like, this dog's going to end up in the mall. I mean, like, it is going to hit this building, but he's able to catch it when the car comes back in at that time. So even if it had hit before, he's able to save it before it happens.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I know.
I see.
Because I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And it's so complicated, though, but it does.
Yeah,
It does.
I see it. I see it.
So, okay, Marty goes back in time. Okay, he hides the DeLorean very well behind like 3 branches.
It's not me because I don't use Apple products.
I also
Potential
did not use
spam, I'm sorry.
Fruit products.
Potential spam.
So I wanted to point out the DeLorean's 0 to 60 time is like 15 fucking seconds.
Yeah.
What is it for real? Because
I
like
looked it
they
up.
made it seem like it took forever to get from.
Yeah.
I'm thinking this is supposed to be like a great sports car type thing.
Yeah, I have my reservations on how this all went down at the end scientifically. Doesn't make sense to me. But we'll talk about it when we get to the end. He hides the DeLorean and
So it says we'll do 0 to 60 in 8.8 seconds.
holy crap.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I feel like in the movie when he's like revving it up the first time, like getting it going, it's like taking forever. It felt like maybe it was only 8 seconds, but it seemed like it was going forever. I'm thinking my van can probably do that, and it's like
the
slowest
DeLoreans
thing
are
in the
really
world.
heavy cars.
Oh, that's true. But it
They're
can still
steel,
go
aren't they?
in 8 seconds. You just told me.
Okay. Obviously, because this. Okay. Oh, I'm all over the place. He crashes in Mr. Peabody's shed.
Yes.
Okay. They think he's a space alien.
Alien.
Alien. And he takes off. Now, I actually read about this. I'm not clever enough to pick this up on my own. And anybody listening to this probably already knows this little fact of trivia here.
I doubt it.
But on his way out, Mr. Peabody guy who used to have the pine tree where the mall sets now, that was where the mall parking lot was, and it's Twin Pines Mall. When he's leaving Mr. Peabody's property, he runs over one of his 2 pine trees. So then at the end of the movie, when he goes back to the mall, instead of Twin Pines, it's now Lone Pine Mall.
I did not catch that at all.
Anyway,
That is attention to detail
Yes.
right there.
I just want
I give it an extra half a point just for that.
Just gonna say extra point.
Extra half point.
Oh man, but yeah, so I wanted to point that I did not catch that. I
catch
read
it either.
that, but I thought that was pretty good, so good. But he leaves. Shortly thereafter, he hides he sees what was it, State Line Estates or something like that? Yeah, something like that.
Lion Estates, right?
Yeah.
think so.
It's no longer there. It's like in its early development stages. So he hides the DeLorean behind.
So I probably
billboard?
missed it earlier in the movie.
What?
They probably did like a flyover or showed it. What was Lion Estates?
Isn't that where he lived?
I was gonna say,
yeah, I think so.
That's what I assumed, but I was not sure at all where the fuck that was supposed to be.
Yeah, I think that's where he lived, and like nothing's there. So now he's coming to the realization he really is in 1955.
Yes.
Okay, all right, I knew that. So he goes to the malt shop or diner or whatever it is, where he runs into his dad, and he gets to see how his dad is for the first time. He's like this. Let's just call it what it is. He's a loser.
McFly. Biff comes in, swinging his tiny dick around.
Okay, I will say though, man, that I can't remember the actor's name. Biff, perfectly played. I hate that guy so much, but it's because he plays.
Yeah, he's supposed to.
He plays a good bully. It's really good. And this, I just want to get to this. I want to get to this. George leaves. Marty follows him. Okay, here we go. Dad's looking up in the tree, bird watching on Lorraine. All right. And he was supposed to get hit by the car. That's how everything happens.
Yeah,
They
because
fall
in the
love.
beginning, the mom's like, "Oh, you got hit by a car. It was meant to be."
Yes. Yeah, the dad's just a huge perv.
And I love when, I guess who'd be the grandpa, hits George.
Yes.
And he's like, "Another one of those kids jumped in front of my car."
That's
Another one.
is that the one part you laughed at?
No, that is not. That is
I
a good one
laughed
though.
at that.
Yeah, I love that too.
The part that I laughed at comes at the very end, and I don't even think it's meant to be a joke or anything. I just really like it. So that's how they originally fell in love, but Marty pushes his dad out of the way, and he gets hit, and as he flies back, he should disappear, and the movie is over.
Yep. Yes.
Because at this point forward, nothing can unfold.
However, this is why, and I will explain this to you again.
All right, let's
Why
do this.
time travel movies don't make sense, because
course.
if he went back in time, pushed it out of the way, he would disappear,
Yes.
which means that he would have never been born, obviously, so he never could have gone back in time to push his dad out of the way, and therefore he would have come back into existence to push his dad out of the way, thus making him not exist, and then it just goes forever.
Well, maybe that's why they had him slowly fade out of existence. Because it's also
no.
like,
Yeah, I mean,
looking
it makes
into-
sense for the movie,
Yes.
but it just doesn't make
No,
sense.
It's also, they're probably taking into account all the possible futures. There's still a chance that those two ended up together in some way. That's why it was like, oh, his older siblings faded away first, because like they're losing their chances as the time goes on.
Yeah, no,
I guess.
I get it. As a story, it makes sense. As a movie, it's fun to watch. I'm not going to bash it. I could not write anything this clever 100%. Couldn't do it. But whether or not the older ones lost their chances or what, it should have been instantaneous.
But it should have and shouldn't have been instantaneous.
I know. And again, this, like I said, going back to the first episode of the second season, when I was saying how like Bill and Ted falls under the same thing.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if they're taking all these historical figures, time is not going to unfold the exact same way, and so many differences would then have happened. So, yes, I'm making an argument that applies to Bill and Ted. I get it. But this one just seems, like I say, because of the short time span, it's more apparent. Okay? And that's what it kills.
I think it'd be more apparent over the longer time span.
No.
It would.
No. Because no average person is going to take that much time out of their movie viewing experience to be like, okay, so if Genghis Khan ate a Twinkie and went in a phone booth, I'm just saying, no one's going to care. I didn't care.
I don't think it'd be Genghis Khan eating a Twinkie. I think it'd more be Genghis Khan was gone for a week and his armies were just wandering lost, confused on what to do, losing every battle because they had no leader.
So, I mean, the present day would have been completely different.
Yes.
Everything would have been different across the entire world. So, the small little things that would have happened over the course of, in this movie, 30 years, I think would have been less noticeable because it wouldn't have had enough time to unfold as deeply.
I'm just thinking that with the long span of time, most people aren't going to think about it as deeply. No one's going to care. I didn't care. Just shut
I think
up.
it's just the fact that
It's interdimensional travel and not time travel, and so he affected the other universe and not this one.
Hey, could be.
It's
Maybe
also
that's
like-
what it is.
a sense of seriousness that the movies have. Going into Bill and Ted, when they do their time travel shit, you're not going to stop and think of how time travel is going to affect it because no one gives a shit about how time travel affects anything in Bill and Ted.
Yeah, that's
it's just a big
true.
joke, so nobody really cares.
And that's again.
Well, like, in this one, they mention it multiple times on how serious and how badly they can affect everything with time travel. Yeah. So it gets you thinking about it, and it's like there's the problem. They made you think about it.
Yeah, and that's again it's one thing I really, really appreciate and love about this movie is you're taking somebody out of modern times and putting them into, like decades ago, and so they're out of their element, and I love stuff like that. It's fun.
I do like that, but then when they try to explain the future, how it affected it later, it's like it makes no sense.
Yeah,
just a person appearing in the past from the future is interesting, but
there was also a moment for me that was really trippy because I kind of forgot when the movie was set.
Okay.
So when they went back to 1955, I was thinking 70-ish years ago.
Oh. What?
Instead of
that is weird. Yeah.
Take into account it was in 85.
Yeah, it was like 5 minutes later I realized, it's going from 80 back. It's like it was just like a weird, obviously if you're watching this movie when it came out, not a thought you'd have to worry about.
I know, but you're thinking, wait a minute, 30 years ago looked like this?
Whoa.
How?
No, what excuse me. One of the things I thought was stupid, but yet really funny, and I'm like, oh, come on, is when he's waking up from getting hit by the car.
Yeah.
And it's like Lorraine's in there, and he thinks he's home, and it was all a dream because he hears his mom's voice. But she's just like, oh, you're safe and back in good old 1985 or 55, whatever. Yeah. And I know I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. And then he's like, what? And I'm Lorraine. And it's like, 2 seconds ago, you're just talking like an old lady, and now you got she was.
Was she?
Yes.
Or is it just because they were trying to give you the sense that he was kind of like partially conscious, and he's hearing his mom's voice, and it's different, but his brain's like filling in the blank?
You know what? If that's what they were doing, it did not come across to me like that. I just got the sense of they're trying to make him believe, and it didn't. No, because it's like
I just got the sense his mom's hot.
Yes. Oh, don't worry, you're okay. Oh, I'm so glad you're back. I'm just like, oh, come on.
Horrible nightmare. Dreamed I went back in time. It was terrible.
Well, safe and sound now, back in good old 1955.
1955? You're my mom.
My name is Lorraine. Lorraine Bates?
Yeah. But you're so thin.
Just relax, Calvin. You got a big bruise on your head.
And why did he have to take his pants off again? I can't remember.
I think she took his pants off.
Yeah, but why did she take his pants off?
Dude,
you
know why she took his pants off.
Ooh, that's really creepy. She just
it's the 80s. All the movies are rapey.
Yes.
She kept getting handsy with him, too.
Yeah. Oh, and that's one thing, too. Like, it's so weird because there are so many times where she's talking to him and she's really heavy breathy. Hi, Calvin. And it was like, oh my God, what?
I'm so wet for you, Calvin.
Yeah, and then I go, I'm like, and then I'm thinking, what's going on under that blanket when he wakes up? He's like, oh, Mom, you're so hot. And it was like, oh my God. Like, I apologize to everybody listening to the podcast.
I'm sitting here like, what the fuck?
This is getting steamy in here. This is like ASMR going on.
You gotta loosen your bow tie.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to give you guys an idea of what I'm experiencing.
The audio listeners are
glad I wore a condom today.
No, but I'm just like, I'm watching this. I'm like, this, if it wasn't already weird.
You're making it weirder.
No, the director's like, okay,
yeah, I know.
I want you to wake up and, really struggle with your mom being hot.
And the director or the writer was Freud, right?
What?
Mike, thank you, Mike. Well, he was the one. If I'm not mistaken, he was the one that theorized
the Oedipus complex.
That everybody wants to do their mom.
Yes. Okay. I'm like, when you said Freud, for some reason I'm searching. Shut up.
Even that's a callback to Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just like, everybody in this movie is just all hot for their relatives. And I'm just like, this is so weird. Because here's the thing. I mean, like, I'm not saying like, oh man, you know, when you were younger, you were attractive or whatever. But like, I would have to think that even if you thought your mom was attractive, it'd be a little bit easier to be like, oh my God, this is my mom. This is really weird. And Marty's just like, I'm having a really hard time resisting right now.
He's like, is this, well, because remember, this is crazy. All this, he's still getting his head wrapped around all this, right?
Yeah.
So he's thinking like, is this just one of those dreams that I sometimes have?
Oh, geez.
Or, you know?
Okay. So, goes
Moving
down.
on.
Yes. We're going down.
He's obviously a bit strange. So is his mom.
We're just going to go down for dinner in this scene.
That's what she was thinking.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was the plan.
Apparently, in 1985, no one owns two TVs.
Of course not.
No.
That's crazy.
That's silly. Who owns two TVs? in 85?
Most people don't even own one.
Yes, exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And he has to take off. He can't handle this no more. He's got to find Doc Brown and make sense of all this. And I thought, what a dick, by the way, ripping that page out of that phone book.
Oh yeah, that was one of the things when he first got there and he's doing the whole phone book thing.
Yeah.
His watch beeps.
Yeah, yes.
And he
I like that.
panics and hides it like he's got some kind of bomb. It's like, did they not have clocks with alarms in the 50s? Like, why is he freaking out so much?
But he has a digital Casio with calculator, I think. Isn't that what that is?
Yeah, I'm not sure they would have had that kind of.
I mean, like,
No.
did you see the guy running that diner? I'm not sure he would have given a shit if the dude had a bomb strapped to his wrist.
Yeah.
Like,
Everybody's really easy going in the I keep on saying the 80s. In the 50s. Anyway.
everyone's really easygoing in the 80s version of the 50s.
Yes. And you know, what about this? What about when Marty shows up to Doc Brown? He's like, look, I need your help. I came back in time in a time machine you made. And he's just like, no, future boy, I don't believe you. After he just hit his head and had the vision of the flux capacitor, which he knew was going to be used for time travel.
Not
Yeah.
necessarily.
He didn't necessarily know it was for time
He knew it
travel.
was a
He just wrote it down and tried to figure out what it was.
Oh, is that what it was?
I don't think he knew what he saw.
All the flux capacitor is like a generator in a sense, isn't it? Like a power source.
Well, I guess
Yeah.
I
Maybe he
don't
didn't know what to do with it yet, what it meant.
Maybe-
Besides, he also might have thought he was just losing his marbles.
I don't know. Maybe I read too
Also-
much into this.
if you look at all his inventions and I'm assuming even then he said, "Oh my god, I made something that worked." Like
Yeah.
he probably already had a reputation for being a crackpot,
Yes.
so he was probably fucked with by local people a lot.
Okay, because the way I looked at it is there's this scene where he's like, he tells him he comes back in time. You designed this, you made this. He explained it to him, and then took him to see it, for himself in the DeLorean. He's like, something I invented works. So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. If you knew what it was, I guess it just came off to me like he knew about it, like what it was for all along, I guess. If that makes any sense, because that's how I
guess
took
I
it.
just didn't get that vibe.
I got that vibe, and I'm like, wait, then why didn't you believe him from the get-go? I don't know. I just, and you guys are right. I can see it from that perspective now, but when I'm watching the movie, I just took it like, you just came up with this, and you're not believing it? I don't know. And I guess you're right. Like, nothing he makes works, so he's like, yeah, that would never happen. My shit doesn't work. So, okay, whatever.
I just realized a huge flaw with this movie, and doesn't come up till the end.
Ooh. Should we wait?
It comes back to the whole, they don't want to change the past because it will affect the future and ruin everything.
Yes.
He says as he's like going to leave to go to the future, he's like, oh, at least I'll know who wins every, like, I don't remember which sports game he said, but like,
Yeah, but he's going to know. Doesn't mean he's going to use that information.
implied that he's going to use that information.
You know what I hated?
I mean, I guess it's like, that would be no different than if you'd gone to the past and changed something that happened back then. You go to the future, then go back to your own past, go back to your time and do something.
Yeah.
And you're changing the past technically.
Well, and then here's the thing too. He doesn't want to change the past or whatever, but this whole movie is about changing the past.
Yeah.
The whole thing is being changed. You're
Actually-
rewriting it.
It's about changing the future.
I just remember.
You know what I mean?
Well, I guess like he got over it, but I just remember that was such a big deal to him. It's like, you can't fuck with the past.
Yeah, no, this whole movie's fucking with the past.
Yeah.
But no, I want to tell you something that I hated. I hated how over the top scientific they tried to make Doc Brown.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Like when okay.
Talking about the dance poster?
Yes! Oh, yes, that exact scene!
Where he says, and I quote, "Look, there is a rhythmic ceremonial ritual tonight."
Yes!
Because he doesn't know what a dance is.
Thank you! Oh my god, I heard that. I'm like, are you serious? And I think he says a couple more things. I should have wrote them down. I just didn't have time.
I feel like that whole school scene, he had just those weird types of lines.
Yes.
Didn't he? There's like at least 3 of them.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, like when Marty kept saying heavy, you know, and he's like, what's wrong with the gravitational pull and blah blah blah, and I'm like,
well, I could see that though.
No,
I can see that because if he has no idea what he means by everything's really heavy, maybe he thinks, wow, are things heavier in the future or lighter? That's why you think everything's heavy now.
Okay, but come on, he's an intelligent guy. Doc is an intelligent. He's an inventor. He's like this.
He's never heard of slang before?
Well, then that's the thing. Listen to the context. He's not like, here, Marty, I need you to hold this. And Marty's like, oh, man, this is heavy. He's talking about things happening and going wrong and putting things in. Man, this is really heavy. Like, it seems like you would gather. No.
Have you ever been visited by a future man?
You want me to get my journal and tell you every time?
Okay. Think about the dumb shit we say today.
But I'm just saying, like there are some things.
If someone
Sometimes
went back in time and they tossed something to them and they chucked it and yelled "yeet," the person would be really fucking confused.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I know,
Doc just didn't know what the fuck's going on. He was asking. He was trying to make sense of it. He was not going to make an assumption because a scientist should not make assumptions.
Okay, I'm like, come on. You should know better than this, Dr. Emmett Brown. Whatever.
Maybe.
Okay, but yeah, that scene came up and I'm like, oh, this is so stupid. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, that scene was actually pretty heavy. Think about
okay.
It. This is just why I hate time travel movies. I just hate them.
Oh, let's talk about a real...
Because you just can't. You can't make any sense of anything that's happening.
But I think that's what makes it fun. I think it's you're toying with the imagination and the idea of it. You know, it's like, yeah, it doesn't make sense, but that's kind of the fun and exciting part about it.
If you're going to do a time travel movie, you have to designate your rules of time travel
Yes.
in the movie strictly.
Yes. I think that's
follow
fair.
them.
Yeah.
But when they leave it open as to like, well, we're just going back in time, it's going to affect the future. It's like, that's just so... there's too many holes for me.
Yeah, and there really are. And here's the thing: you got to present it in a way where it's still believable, or a person can make sense of it. But if you're telling a story and no one can make sense of it, that's a problem.
Yeah.
But that's the thing: like it's they're all holy. They have to be holy. But like they're still presented in a way where the pseudo-scientificness behind it works, sort of.
No,
flimsily.
it doesn't.
It works flimsily
I
for
honestly thought that was a fart.
There are
storytelling.
There are some movies and shows, for example, Rick and Morty, where they do time travel, but they say it in the way that like they go to a different dimension in time.
Yes, okay.
So it doesn't affect theirs.
Right.
So they explain the whole thing, and when they go there, their self is there.
Yes.
And they have to get rid of themselves because then that would be a mess. So in that way it works because you're in a whole different timeline.
I think they actually say there's no time travel.
Yeah, it would be that's what I'm saying. It would be impossible.
Like
There
there's one
is
where
and
he steps
isn't.
through a portal, grabs a bunch of pizzas, and steps back through.
Yeah.
And he's like, "This wasn't time travel. I just went to some place where there was a bunch of fucking pizzas."
Yeah.
Huh. I like that idea. That way of explaining it is really solid.
So that way, if they had implied that in the movie, works. But then they wouldn't have to fix or do anything. They would just go to a different dimension where it's already set and they're fine. They're fine to go.
But this is in the 80s. They didn't put that much thought into this yet. They're still developing time travel.
They put quite a bit of thought into this movie.
They did
I think
fine.
if you're going to spend, how much?
$19 million.
$19 million, especially in the 80s, you should think about it. You should think about your $19 million investment.
They did, man.
And I mean, obviously, they made a great amount of money
Their opening
because of
weekend was pretty
nobody
good.
else. Nobody else was
do
paying
you know
attention.
the opening weekend?
The opening weekend was opening weekend was 11 million.
Okay, see? So, okay.
So
This movie did well.
No, it did. It is a good movie. It's
Yeah, it
everything,
is.
but it still doesn't make sense.
And you know what makes
just
it a
doesn't
good
make
movie?
sense.
You know what
Not
makes
even
it a
in
good-
its own universe.
But you know what makes it a good movie? This scene right here where Biff is getting up in Crispin Glover's face, the dad Marty, and
The dad Marty.
the dad, not Marty McFly, the dad McFly, Dad McFly.
Okay, dad.
Okay.
The Dad and Marty is how this movie almost turned out.
Dad Marty. It was almost a Futurama moment.
Yes, it really was all very close. Okay, no, Biff is getting in Father McFly's face.
I forgot about that episode. That's such a good episode.
He's getting in Father McFly's face, and Marty has to. He trips him. There's this awesome skateboard scene, dude.
Skateboards also were invented in the 40s.
Oh. Don't ruin this for me, damn it. I love this scene. It is a feel-good moment, man.
Think about it. The 40s, there's not much TV, there's no internet.
Yeah.
So how it would just be word of mouth. So not everyone would know about skateboards. Like there's still a huge chance that all the kids in this town have no idea.
Yeah, this little town may have never heard of them before.
Yeah.
Right. But no, this scene is so good. It is so good. I love it so much. You can't not watch this and just feel like, yeah. What?
Okay, this is the scene where he makes a little skateboard real quick, right?
Yes.
And he's just ripping up the town with this skateboard.
I gotta
Hell
say,
yeah.
when I would skateboard, I bought some cheap ass skateboards. I tell you
Yeah.
what, the wheels on those sucked ass. You go like 15 feet and be like, stop.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, okay, so they have I don't skateboard, so I don't know, but they have those things where the skateboard can wiggle so you can steer it, and they have all these specialized parts to make the skateboard usable in a friendly way. And this skateboard is just a couple wheels attached statically on the bottom of a board, and yet he's able to do all these things. And I'm just not sure, unless he's really good.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if he could.
They have implied that he's really good at everything
Yes.
he does, apparently.
He is showing them what thrashing is all about, my friend. Okay, this is a good scene. It might not be historically accurate, but it's so good. It's so good. No.
It's fair.
If everybody watching this movie, including Lorraine in the movie, didn't already think he's a heartthrob, I am falling for Michael J. Fox at this moment. He is
There's
my
a Michael
hero.
J. that I'm falling
He's
for.
quite a bit shorter than you.
I don't know.
Ooh. How tall is Michael J. Fox?
Oh, well,
Do some research.
Do some research. You're the secretary.
No, this is a really good scene. I love the scene so much, and he, of course, at this point is just hell bent on trying to get these two together, because the more he's trying, the more the mom is just going head over heels for Marty, and and like I say, every time she talks about it, it's just he's such a dreamboat.
So there's also oh shit, he's 5'4".
Oh, son of a bitch!
So you guys are the same height.
Wow, man, we could be besties. Oh, so good.
Gosh.
Man.
I like how when the whole skateboarding scene ends and everything, he crashes his car.
Yeah.
Later, he comes back. He's like, "You did $300 of damage to my car."
Yeah, I think it's a lot of damage.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's funny because you think about that nowadays. It's like, what do you get, like a scratch on his car? It's like, no,
Oh,
he
yeah.
probably totaled
Back
it
in,
back
back
then.
in the day, you could probably buy a car for $300.
I know. I thought it was pretty good.
Probably what you made yearly. I don't know about that one, but maybe.
I don't know, but that's pretty good. So let's fast forward, okay? There's a plan in motion with Doc Brown. He's going to figure out how to get the DeLorean 1.21 gigawatts using the lightning that hits the clock tower.
I was so careless. 1.21 gigawatts.
I know. When he's watching that video, oh, look at me. I'm an old man. I still have my hair. And I'm like, you look the same.
He really hasn't changed.
I look so old. Okay. And I'm assuming that's meant to be a joke, but yeah.
But no, he actually does look a little bit older. They did add a little bit of effect.
Did they?
Yeah, I can
my
see it.
God,
and his hair
not
was
much.
a little bit longer and a little bit crazier in the
man.
future/current him.
Ooh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily paid too much attention, but yeah, when he's watching the video and he's just like, I look like an old man. I was like, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. But so he knows about the clock tower. It's like this historic landmark, so they know exactly when it was struck, all that jazz. They're going to harness the lightning power. And I do like it. He has it all figured out, but it's so flimsy. the whole thing is
There's one part about that
The
that
whole
annoyed me.
movie is flimsy.
Well, yes, but like this in particular, when we get to the scene, I just want to talk about how all this times out because I don't buy it.
There's
I'm not
also-
buying in.
A really dumb scene when they were setting it up was this cop comes up and he's like, "Wait, what are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm just setting up this weather test." He goes,
Yeah.
"You got a permit for that?" And he says, "Oh yeah. Give me a second." He starts digging through his wallet.
Yeah.
It's like,
He's bribing the guy.
Oh,
was he
I never
bribing
even
the cop?
realized that.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Oh.
thinking. He's bribing the cop because I'm thinking Doc Brown is a shisty guy. He just wants to do his science. He
Right.
bribes cops. He steals plutonium from other countries
Yes.
and stuff. I mean, he's
Oh, that is so good. I didn't catch that. And the funny part is, I wondered what happened with that. I'm like, how did the rest of this go down? Like,
I was also wondering how that went. I didn't even think of a bribe at all.
oh, that's exactly what I thought.
that's
Because he just
so
goes straight to his
good.
wallet. I'm thinking there is no permit for what he is doing.
yes.
He is just paying the cop, and the cop is like, even the way he says, like, "Do you have a permit for that?" Like, hint, hint.
Oh, that is so good.
'Cause
Didn't
cops, you
even
know.
pick it up.
Okay, so now I like that scene.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that a lot more. Okay, let's go to the enchantment under the sea dance, right? Because here's how this is all going to work out, all right? He just, no matter what he tries, Lorraine is not falling for George. And I mean, rightfully so.
But he's her density.
I mean, destiny. Everybody's so airy in this damn movie. Good Lord.
It's the 50s.
Oh yeah, everybody in the 50s.
I mean, it's all the smog.
Everybody smokes, throws out of breath, you know.
Yes. But so the plan is, Marty's gonna get a little aggressive. George has to show up at 9:00 exactly. He's got to say his lines. Hey, you, get your damn hands off her. And then
Gotta
everything's
make sure
good.
to swear.
Yes. Oh yeah. Gotta swear.
Extra air too.
Oh yeah. Yes. Okay. And so we get to the dance. Everything's going good until I was gonna say beef. Until Beef and the gang get there.
Beef in the gang. That sounds like a movie or a series I want to watch.
Biff and the gang shows up before he could really put his plan to action because I think everything he was going to attempt to do.
She was totally into.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He was like, "Mom, I'm gonna rape you," and she's like, "Yes, please.
Oh my God.
Yes, please."
Okay, you put that
a little harsh.
bluntly, but yes.
That's what happened.
Yes,
You know,
no, it is true. Okay.
Ugh, trying to hold my hand over here. It's
He's gonna
true.
rape you.
Yes, please.
Oh my God, you guys, no.
Why did we take such like a wholesome classic movie and turn it into this?
We're just telling it like it is.
Okay, no.
we're describing what happened in just modern day.
terminology?
Yep.
Okay, I want to go back to the beginning of this movie right here though because there's a scene. Even before this, where Biff is getting really aggressive in the cafeteria with Lorraine, and he's doing so in this car, and he's telling his boys like, "Back off, guys! This ain't no peep show." So shit's gonna go down. In the beginning of the movie, when Biff's like bossing around the dad, the mom's an alcoholic. Are we assuming that she's being like sexually abused by Biff?
Would explain the alcoholism and her weird personality.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, this is really kind of dark.
He takes everything else the guy owns. And why was he driving his car?
Yeah, but I should have with that blind spot. That's dangerous. But when all this was going down and I was thinking about the beginning of this movie, I'm like, that's
Wait, who was going down in the scene?
You.
That's right.
no. But no, I thought about all that and I'm like, even when he's like, say hi to your mom for me, and I'm just like,
Oh.
man, I just thought about that. I'm like, that sucks, man.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
I mean,
but now I am thinking
I
about
was
it.
the whole beginning of the movie, I was like, fuck, this is depressing.
It is.
Like they got a shitty life. And I know it's meant to be that way, but it's like this is
And-
I haven't seen this movie since I was a kid. I did not catch on to how shitty their life was as a kid.
Oh yeah, and I think obviously it's purposefully done so that the end result is more like triumphant and victorious and a bigger, happier ending. And but let's get back to this scene. Okay, and like I said, this is the scene where I put all those thoughts kind of together, and I'm like, ooh, man, that's rough. And which also made me think that 90s and 80s movies are just so freaking rapey. It's so unnerving, actually. But this is where George shows up, and he's expecting Marty. He doesn't get Marty. He gets Biff. He gets the beef.
Yeah, I think Lorraine was expecting Marty and gets beef.
Yeah. So, yes. And so he becomes a man right here. He gets over his nerves and his anxiety and everything, and he just lays Biff out. And this is the turning point, right? Okay, everything's going great. Michael J. Fox, Marty McFly, is playing guitar on stage after being pried out of the trunk of Marvin Berry's. What was the name of the group? Anybody?
Oh, fuck.
That was a pretty weird group name for the 50s.
Like Marvin Berry and the Fucks? No, wasn't it? Was it Marvin Berry and the Starlighters or something?
Can't remember. I remember hearing it or seeing, because I think they said it too, didn't they?
I don't remember.
And for some reason, it's like, it's right there, but I can't get it. It's right there.
I also love how these guys stopped mid-set to go get high.
Yes!
Fuck yeah. Well,
yeah, those reefer addicts.
yeah, they got to get into the spirit, you know? They need the Holy Spirit.
I think a lot of people have reefer addicts, you know? Okay, no. Yeah. Oh, all right. This scene right here sucks for two reasons. One, when Michael J. Fox is up there playing, what am I getting at here? I lost my train of thought. Give me a second.
You'll find it.
Maybe we'll get there. Oh, yes. Okay. When Michael J. Fox is playing the song Johnny Be Good, one, I do believe he actually plays that song on guitar. Yeah. He's actually performed it, as far as I know, for like charity benefits and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
And so that's awesome. But man, couldn't they have got a singing voice more matching to Michael J. Fox? I hated that singing.
Who's singing?
I have no idea. Honestly, it almost sounds like the original damn song.
Are you sure it's not him?
If it is, his singing voice does not match him.
I mean,
that happens a lot.
I know, and it does.
Yeah.
Plus, sometimes when you're singing, then they process it differently in the studio and stuff. You have to see.
This was the 80s. Like, when did Autotune come out?
I don't know, but it doesn't, in my opinion, when I'm watching it, like doesn't match. I mean,
well, that's the weird thing about it is I was thinking that too, that it sounded odd, but it also sounds just enough like him to where I thought maybe it could be.
See, I didn't think it sounded anything like him. And again, that's fine, and maybe it is, but I didn't buy it. I just thought like, oh, Michael J. Fox can't sing. They either used the original track or found somebody else to sing for him. But I'm just like, it didn't sound right to me, and I'm just like, that's stupid. But what I think is even worse than that, though, is he's like struggling now because he's being erased from existence. Because
which apparently just means having a stroke.
yes. And he's being erased from the photo, and because his dad or what's supposed to be his dad, George, has been ripped away from his date, and this one guy's like, "Let me cut in," and he's like, "No."
Is it weird that guitar playing skills are some of the first things to go when you fade from existence?
Yes.
I also think, again, like you said, why do you fade away so slowly?
Well, right.
And how is somebody taking that picture when half a person is there?
Right.
This doesn't make sense. Like, everybody get together, even Headless Bill. Like, what the fuck?
Headless Bill.
Hey. Don't make fun of his disability.
You never heard the legend of Headless Bill.
I apologize for everybody who's listening that happens to be headless. I didn't mean any offense.
No, this bothers me because he's fading from existence because the dad was taken away, but he's like, no. And he's like, doo, doo, doo. And everything's like back in. It's like, yes, he's come
willed himself back into existence.
But here's the thing. He should have never been fading because that was going to happen. It's not like anybody.
None of this ever should have happened because it all was going to happen.
But no, but it's not like he changed the events. It's not like he was fading and he had to do something to change the outcome. You know what I mean? Like, he he was gonna say no, because that's how it just unfolded naturally. So he should have not been fading at all. It should have just never happened.
Was that really anything to do with him, or was that music playing because it was like another scene for his dad to stand up for himself? Showing that it's like, oh, maybe he does have a bit of a backbone now.
Well, no, yeah, I don't think it had to do with Michael J. Fox's music playing per se. I think the scene was to kind of like cement how, like, you know, George McFly is overcoming all his like insecurities. But I just thought it was stupid because, yeah, there was nothing to change the fact of like, hey, no, you need to get back in there and tell this guy to fuck off and dance with Lorraine. You know, it's just like he was ripped away and Marty was fading, but then he went back and danced because, like, no, I'm the man now, you know. But it's like, he should have never been fading. Do you get it? Do you get it, boy?
This is exactly what I've been trying to say this entire time, is none of it should have happened, and yet at the same time, all of it should have happened.
Yes.
And so which is it?
Welcome to a time paradox. So, you know.
Exactly.
And how about this? How about everything is fixed? Because, you know, George stood up for himself. Everything's back. The kids are back in the picture. If everything is now unfolding differently, why are they wearing the same clothes? That would have all unfolded completely.
We can get to that in a minute.
The whole photograph could have even been differently. Anyway,
But before we get to that, I just want to say, according to backtothefuture.fandom.com, Michael J. Fox's performance of the song is one of the signature moments of Back to the Future. Marty's singing was dubbed by Mark Campbell.
Ha!
Fox asked guitarist Paul Hansen to teach him the precise sequence of chords so that it would appear that Marty's guitar playing would match within the soundtrack.
Oh, well, he did a great job.
So it just matched up, although if you say he actually played it later, I mean,
Yes.
obviously he learned how to
Right.
play it, but he was just matching it up
Man.
in
Plenty
the
of
movie.
time.
Have you ever seen Bill and Ted's guitar playing to their music? Awful.
Wonderful.
No.
I'm just kidding.
No, okay. Let's get to the end scene now, because now he's got to race back. And by the way, time is of the essence.
Is it?
Well, you would think so, even though he's like, I'm not going to go back in that zoot suit. I had to change. Really? You're going to risk making it back to your time period because you have to have a change of clothes?
Dude, he gotta look poppin', dog.
What a dick. I'm just saying, man. So, okay, Doc has this specifically planned out. It has to go down this way. When that clock rings, apparently you floor it, but it stalls. So he has a late start. So how is this all timing out?
It has to time out.
No, yes. It has to. But it shouldn't.
It has no choice but to time out. Or else it would just create more time It has no choice but to
No,
time out
I
and
know
no
that.
choice but to not time out.
I get it. I get it. Story-wise, though, for its fakeness of not working, I just want to... No!
You're trying to make sense of nonsense. It can't be done.
What if? So everyone assumed the lightning struck at 10:04,
Okay.
but that's because the clock was struck.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it stopped. But he was hanging from the hand. So
Yeah.
what if it struck at like 10:06? So he had extra time to do it because the hand couldn't move because he's ziplining off of it.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't look like he moved at all. It's a very Harold Lloyd scene, by the way. I never realized that. This scene...
I'm just trying to bullshit it.
By the way, this scene is the one that made me laugh. And it's so stupid. It's just, he's struggling to get the cord connected. And when he finally pulls, the other side comes out and he gets it, he looks like, woo! Oh my God. His face and scream.
that was really good.
Every time I see this, it just catches me off guard, even though I know it's there, and I crack up every time. And here's the thing I want to talk about. We didn't talk too much about acting and the actors, but before we talk about the very absolute tail end and talk about final thoughts and ratings, I do want to say, Christopher Lloyd, man, and even Michael J. Fox, they were meant for these roles.
Oh, yeah.
But I do want to say this. Apparently, I don't know about as much about Michael J. Fox as I thought, and I never claimed to know a lot in the beginning, but I know him in these movies. I know him in The Frighteners, and I know him in Teen Wolf. So,
I forgot about that one.
Never seen that, thankfully.
oh my God, you're going to love it.
No.
You're going to love it, because I'm going to pick it at some point. Here's my thing. I think Michael J. Fox is just one of those actors who is not a bad, he's a great actor, but I think he only has Michael J. Fox. Am I wrong?
It's probably about right.
Because I'm watching this and he plays it so well. Like, I seriously, like, he's meant for this role.
You know what? I can't remember much of Teen Wolf, but looking at The Frighteners, because we just watched that
Yeah.
recently, it really is kind of the same character as Back to the Future.
Yeah, I'll have to track down a movie where maybe he plays something more dramatic or more like a character because
We should watch Life with Mikey.
yes,
Love that movie.
But I really feel like whenever I see Michael J. Fox, he's a great actor. His performances are solid, but he's just always Michael J. Fox. And that being said, in all honesty, I do kind of feel the same about Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, but he's awesome.
He is awesome.
And it's kind of funny because obviously they were trying to go with like somebody that kind of like looked like a genius, and
Yeah.
when we think of genius, we think of Einstein.
Yeah.
And he's got the hair and everything, but like, is he just Einstein? Is he Einstein? Did Einstein fake his death and just become an actor?
Maybe. I don't know. But let's get to the end, right? He gets here. Okay. Nope. Another argument.
Here we go again. Yeah,
Yes.
'cause I have tons.
here-
There's
I have
also another thing.
tons.
As long as we're talking about acting, I think you mentioned this earlier. Biff, whoever
Yes.
his actor was meant to play the role. I fucking hate him.
Yes.
And it's like I've always hated him, but it's because he played his role so well
Yes.
that you can't help but hate him.
No, I think all the acting is pretty solid, honestly.
George, though, whoever played George,
Crispin Glover.
it was okay, but I feel like again it was kind of
Forced.
it felt a little bit forced.
I don't know. I think
Honestly,
his
the
acting's
same
great.
for the mom.
Yeah. Yeah, but she can
No.
act all over me.
No, yeah, she's okay. I think like in like the hierarchy of acting talent, she's not at the top, but I think she's fine. But yeah, you're right, George.
I'm not saying he's a
Very
bad
weird.
actor, but he just didn't do that role well.
Yeah, very strange. I didn't mind it. It's I don't know if it's just believable and buyable because of the movie and we're just so used to it, but it's very strange character traits. Yeah. So what I want to know is he's in a time machine. He's like, oh, if only I had more time, Doc, I could have saved you. And he's like, wait, I have a time machine. I'll go back and give myself 10 minutes. What?
I know you can give yourself all the time in the world.
Yes.
And you pick 10 minutes.
What?
He doesn't want to like. He doesn't want too much time. He'll get bored. He'll miss it. He'll start like I got time to go to the mall now. He can't give himself time for distractions.
Yeah, it's so stupid. I'm like, even watching this now, I'm like, wow, really? I get he's like this 17-year-old dumb teenager, I guess, but I'm like, what am I
Also-
thinking? I'm in time 10 minutes. Yeah, that'll work perfectly.
I guess it makes sense that he pops back right where he was. But he should have taken into account that he's going to pop back in the middle of town and he had to run all the way across town
Yes.
to fucking get there.
Right. Well, and again, he's like, well, I'll just drive back. But like, you popped up here and it stopped working. You tried to use it a couple times and it stopped working. So you're not going to take into account, like, I'll give myself 10 minutes, but wait, shit. My plan is to drive there, but what if it stalls again? Like, come on, I don't know. It's just, I thought that was so stupid. Like, you're going to give yourself time. Oh, I'm no idiot. It's a time machine.
Plus,
10
why didn't he
minutes.
call for an Uber?
Those don't exist in 85, my friend.
Are you sure?
I don't know anything. But
He should
again,
have time traveled way past it, got
Yeah.
an Uber to go back in time.
but he goes back to Lone Pine. He watches himself. He's too late, of course. He watches himself go into the future, or no, I'm sorry, go into the past. He sees Doc get shot, and he taped up the letter.
He also
was
eats
prepared.
shit down this hill, like, for no reason.
Does he? I didn't pay attention.
He's at the top of a hill watching this shit happen in the parking lot, and he goes to take a step forward and just falls and rolls down this hill for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
Dramatic effect, my friend.
Yeah, like he was just shot. That's some unnecessary dramatic effect because
Yeah, of
that wasn't
course.
dramatic enough.
So yeah, no. And then Doc, he taped the letter up, even though he was not going to change the future. But you know what he figured? What the hell? And honestly, he should have figured that. Of everything that just fucking happened, I had that thought too. It's like, at this point, what does it matter?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly. And
It's
then
also not like he didn't imply. It's like, hey, you're not gonna be there in the future, and he was like, you think about it, he probably held on to those things for like how many years? Thinking, do I tape it together? Do I not?
yeah, I know. Yeah, that thing was looking a little rough.
Yeah.
A little rough.
But did it say in the letter where he was going to be shot? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Because what made him so confident that as long as I have a vest covering this part, they're definitely not going to shoot me in the head?
Yeah, I don't.
Did
I
it
think
say that he got shot in the chest only?
I think that about a lot of movies where they're like, I'll just wear a vest. Yeah, you're really putting all your eggs in one basket there. But no, We get to the end. He wore a vest. He's safe. Everything in Marty McFly's life now is great because the dad grew up with more confidence. He put Biff in his place, which with all the things this guy's done in the past and whatnot, why are you keeping this guy around, man?
Because he's like making him pay for his sins.
Yeah, I guess.
He's
Mom's
a
hot
mechanic.
still.
Yeah, plus he's like a mechanic or something.
Oh, yeah, I
So he's
don't
like,
know.
hey, listen, I beat you up before. I'll do it again. Fix my car.
Yeah. And we get the end.
Apparently, everyone wants their car waxed.
Yes.
Well, back in the day, they didn't have they didn't put clear coat on cars. It had to be waxed.
Oh,
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that either.
at least I think something like that. I think they had
okay.
to put wax on it.
Well,
periodically. Could be wrong. Don't know.
Doc shows up because I like when he goes, "It's you. It's about your kids and all this stuff or whatever." But I like before he tells him all this, he's like, "What happened? We grew up to be assholes?" like that's what they have to change. Yes, we got to make it good people. No, but yeah, where they're going, they don't need roads. So iconic. This whole movie is great. This movie's great.
Because in 2015,
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kidding.
flying cars and they can just throw trash into the engine or whatever and they can drive around.
Mr. Fusion, man. My car's got one.
I also think it's kind of funny that Michael J. Fox, so he's back in the current 1985,
Yeah.
and he comes out and he's like, whoa, why is everybody dressed so weird and everything's strange? And he's like, the one guy's like, I always dress in my suit for my,
Yeah.
lawyer job or whatever the fuck he says. And I'm thinking, so now, somehow, all of these people have memories of growing up with Marty, but Marty doesn't have any memories
Yeah.
of how they are, so all of these people are strangers to him, but somehow he's not a stranger to them.
Ooh. Getting too deep. Too deep.
What in
Too
the
deep.
fuck?
It's just too deep for
Yeah.
this movie. This movie's meant to keep you in the shallow end and just have a little.
This movie doesn't make any sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. Okay?
Maybe.
It makes sense enough for us to get into final thoughts and ratings. And Russell, I think I'm going to start with you.
Oh, get wrecked.
Well, I think my beginning thoughts are pretty much my final thoughts.
Ooh, interesting.
I guess he time traveled back to go do more of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I came back from the future to tell myself what to say. And the instructions were, this movie is a good movie, even though it honestly makes no sense and it cannot be followed at all. But, having said that, I would give it like just because it's a good quality movie.
Yes.
It looks good. The actors are nice.
They're good people.
I don't know, man, like a 6.
All right. It's not bad. That's what you gave
say
Bill and
it's-
Ted 2.
Yeah, I'd say, for that kind of movie it is, we'll give it a 6.
All right.
right.
Mike.
So this is one of those movies, and I haven't seen it since I was a kid. At least, like, I say kid, but probably like preteen type age.
Okay.
And every time I see it or hear about it, it's like, I don't want to fucking watch that movie. It's just one of those ones where it's like, I don't really care for it. But every time I watch it, I'm like, oh yeah, I fucking like this movie a lot.
Mm-hmm. It's a good movie.
But what it comes down to is like all the time travel stuff. When you really start getting into it, it ruins every time travel movie. And it's,
I think
But-
Russell ruins it for everybody.
I don't know. There's been a few other ones where you've definitely argued the time travel more.
What?
If I were to give this a point, it's like it definitely gained a point for the wallet scene, but it lost a point for being so rapey. So I'm gonna have to give it just a good 7.
Oh, all right. It's a
Much
solid
higher
rating.
rating than I expected to give it, honestly.
Interesting. I do want to revisit the second one because again, I like the first one. I love the third one. I remember really not liking the second one, and I might just visit that like on my own time and give that another viewing because maybe I'll like it now.
You mean you don't want to have us all do it so we can argue again about how
God.
time travel doesn't make sense?
Yeah. Well,
If
you know
I'm
what?
being honest, I almost started the second one immediately after finishing the first one.
Yeah, well, I'm just gonna put this out there right now. I think after you're done with Bill and Ted Face the Music, I want to close this chapter of time travel for just a little while. I mean, I can't stop you guys from picking whatever the hell you want to pick, but oh my God, I was not looking forward to get into this movie because I'm so sick and tired of hearing time travel because it doesn't make sense. Then we're arguing about it, and then it's stupid, and you ruined my movie going experience. But actually, I had a really good time watching this.
What you need is just some time travel to go back to before we argued about time travel.
Yes.
I hope that somebody watches or listens to one of these and presents some information about this that makes it make sense for me,
Seriously,
so
make
I
us
can
look-
enjoy it again.
Make
Please.
us look dumb in the comments. Just
Please.
tell us how time travel is right.
Yes, I'm sure they can do it just fine. It's first grade stuff, Michael. But no, okay. I was not looking forward to get into this. I had a great time watching it. It is a feel good movie. I love when people go back in time. I like when they're able to take or they have like some new technology with them that like shocks people, or like they can use their sweet skateboarding skills to impress. Love it. So good. It is so good. However, yeah, this movie, when you really think about it, it's got some really dark undertones, which is both off-putting but kind of cool, I guess.
I like it.
I did not laugh as much and have as good a time comedy-wise as I did Bill and Ted, but this is just a good movie in its own category, I guess, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'm gonna come in at an 8 with this movie. I liked it a lot. I can't. It's no Bill and Ted, but they both have their areas of entertainment.
That's why I got a 7. Snow Bill and Ted.
Yeah. Yes, I guess. What did you give Bill and Ted?
Like a 4.
Did you? Damn it!
Yeah,
I hate you guys.
I think me and him were pretty much the same on the first one, and then pretty much the same on the second one.
Damn time travel.
Oh, we also forgot to talk about when he blows up that sweet amp in the beginning of the movie,
fuck.
which made me think of Bill and Ted instantly.
So I wanted to look
just
that
because
up.
that's something they would do.
Like, so enough sound to make a pressure wave that could move you. Would that not just also instantly kill you?
Oh,
Probably.
I don't know, but man, I couldn't even imagine his eardrums.
Yeah, like.
Plus, the
because you
sound
think,
wave tore that speaker apart.
Yeah.
So it must have done something.
Because
Pretty dangerous.
isn't a pressure wave from like explosions, like damage and fuck up your internal organs? That's how you die from explosions. So like, wouldn't that be no different?
Yeah, the shockwave was one of the most devastating parts of a bomb.
Yeah. So like, realistically, if we're thinking about this movie ended right at the start because he killed himself.
He was dead the whole time.
Shit, is this The Sixth Sense?
I was about to say, M. Night Shyamalan is back.
That brings us to the end of this week's episode, you guys. Be sure to join us next week when we kick off all our Halloween and October shenanigans, starting with Tremors 3, Back to Perfection. And if you want to be part of the conversation, find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at RewGuysPod. That's RewGuysPod. Or email us at RewGuysPod@gmail.com and let us know what you think about this movie or any movie we've talked about here on the podcast, and it might even get mentioned on a future episode. Oh my God, this is going to be
I love
horrible.
how every chord has a short in it somewhere.
Every chord.
I mean,
Come on, man. It's like every
everyone
chord.
I've had experience with.
Yeah.
So that
Same.
Wait, what?
My headphones.
we got this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My headphones cut up all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but I still also think a lot of that stems from this.
No, a lot of it's right here because I've played with it a few times during recording.
Well, stop playing with it.
They're great there.
Well, I know that if I do this, it only affects me. It doesn't affect anybody
Yeah,
else. so I can
but
play
you know
with it.
what though? I think it's these. I paid $3 for these. These are not quality cords that came with
Are you
it.
telling me that's not quality? $3 is expensive.
No, these are garbage. But whatever. One
Garbage
day.
butt.
All right, how are my levels, sir?
Oh, really good actually. I think they match pretty evenly with
How
mine.
do you know that?